Hello and welcome to this edition of Bayou Time. I'm your host, Keith Whiteside, licensed clinical social worker. Thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate it very, very much. Always glad to have joining me, Earl Eues, Director of Emergency Preparedness for the Office of Homeland Security for Terrebonne Parish.
Happy St. Patrick's Day.
Happy St. Patrick's
Keith.
Day. Thank you very much, Earl. I appreciate that. And you know, who would have thought that on St. Patrick's Day, after this Mardi Gras season, that we would still be seeing some fairly good, fairly low numbers with a pretty low positivity rate here as we're dealing with COVID, or as we're coming out of COVID, I hope.
Yeah, over the last couple of weeks, our numbers, we've been averaging anywhere between 3 to 5 new cases a day, which is very, very good compared to what we were seeing, back in last August and after the storm and the beginning of, after Christmas.
Right.
But it's good to see people out and about now.
Mm-hmm.
We kind of spoke a little bit that we may have hit some herd immunity.
Mm-hmm.
Because we're still only about 48% vaccinated in Terrebonne Parish. And we're still seeing low number of cases. So I think we may have seen some herd immunity here because not everybody's vaccinated.
Right.
But with this Omicron variant, we had a lot of people that contracted COVID, and it's it's still around. Some people are facing what they call long COVID.
Right. Right.
So it's just effects from them having COVID, catching it or having it, and then they have some effects lingering on.
Yeah, and I've known several people that have been kind of reinfected, if you will. And have we seen a little bit more of that with Omicron than we did with the other variants?
So since 2 years,
right,
wow. We've had 1,555 reinfections. So you got to remember we have a population of about 112,000 here in Terrebonne Parish. So that's a very low number.
Right.
And over the last couple of weeks, we've only seen one reinfection.
Okay.
So like I said, it looks like the variant has maybe, I want to say maybe calmed down.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to say it's not here anymore.
Right.
Because it is here.
Right.
We still have people, we've been averaging about 5 or 6 people in the hospital a day. And we still have people, people going to ICU. And then
right.
just last week we had somebody on a ventilator. So it is here, and if you do contract it, go see your doctor if you have any trouble breathing, and then I've been telling everyone, if you're taking a home test and you become positive, stay home for 5 days, 10 days. If you can't stay home for 10 days, at least stay home for 5 and wear a mask. Right. If you go back to work or if you go outside, so that you can prevent from infecting somebody else.
Yeah, and it's just one of those things where we just need to be aware of what is the possibilities. We're aware of the fact that we can reinfect or infect somebody else. And just, even if your loved one, we've had a relative here recently, and they live in close quarters, both wore masks during that quarantine period. It worked out really well. And that person didn't infect anybody else, and so that's really kind of the important thing for it.
Yeah, and you see in little, every once in a while you'll see someone with a mask on, and nobody thinks anything about it anymore. People are comfortable seeing other people in a mask.
Right.
The flu is going around right now pretty bad.
Yeah, it is.
So usually we tell people if you have the flu or the flu symptoms, don't come back to work until your fever's going. So if your fever is going and you go back to work, wear a mask for a couple of days so you don't infect anybody else. If you have any contagious, if you're still contagious or not.
Right. And it's just logical. It just makes logical sense. We've done this before. The way that we see COVID and how we're dealing with COVID is changing a little bit. I still wear my mask every day. I've got one that hangs around my neck. And anytime I'm going near people, I'll put it on. Going into stores, I still wear mine just because I work in the medical field and I never want to infect anybody else.
Yeah, and there's some talk right now, some chatter regarding a Delta Omicron variant.
Oh, okay.
You also probably been hearing that a province in China has been put on lockdown because of the number of high cases they have in that particular province in China. And also, I've been reading that some of the cases are going up again in the British, in the UK.
Okay.
So we're still keeping an eye out on it. The governor has taken away the state of emergency regarding the health emergency. So, but this health department is still, monitoring things and making sure that the people of the state are still protected. Parish President Gordon Dove still has his emergency declaration in force. So in case we need it, in case something else happens, but we really haven't had to do any mandatory mask mandates. It's almost been a year almost that we didn't have mask mandates.
Right, and again, it's just we're just continuing to follow along with just using good sense as we're trying to find a way to come out of this.
Right.
And so it's just one of those things where we always appreciate you providing us with those numbers and that guidance, and we always rely on you to kind of let us know what's going on in other places. If we start seeing some different parishes where we see some significant rises, that may impact or affect us. The one in China doesn't really, and in Britain and in the UK, but we need to be aware of those that may rise in Louisiana, and if we're doing traveling there.
And that's correct. And just to mention, our rate of positivity, percent positivity is about 3.4, which is still pretty low.
Right.
And so we're doing a good job at the present time.
We appreciate it. We would be remiss if we didn't kind of spend a little time talking about how the hurricane recovery is going. We know that there are a number of people that are still in campers, a number of people that are still displaced, and we're still trying to work with the recovery process as we see changes around the parish almost every day.
That's correct, Keith. We're still working with GOSEP and FEMA and trying to get additional temporary housing here in Terrebonne Parish. Some good news is that yesterday was the last day that the base camp was opened on Scott Lane.
Okay.
So all the people that were in Scott Lane have been given an option for temporary housing or placed somewhere else. As more of a, I don't want to say I don't want to say it's permanent housing, so I say
Right.
It's more permanent temporary housing.
Right. It's less temporary, a little more permanent, but not necessarily for the long haul.
Right, and we still have about 700 or more, 800 people that are still requesting temporary housing in like a trailer type unit or a mobile home unit. A lot of these people we're finding are living with relatives at the present time or friends, and they're ready to get away from, a lot of people feel like the inconvenience in other people, so they would, try to have. So we're all working on trying to get those people additional housing. FEMA is currently constructing a 50-unit mobile home park down in Bayou Blue.
Right.
And they're also looking at putting in a 250-unit facility on West Park Avenue in the Gray area.
Okay.
Shreveport Gray area.
Okay, yeah,
So,
we have some land out there.
yeah, so we are constantly looking for additional places. We call those group sites. They're
Okay.
also looking for commercial parks, which are spaces that are in existing trailer parks or travel trailer parks, RV parks.
RV parks. Right.
Yes. So FEMA is still here. They have a large contingency of people still here trying to help the residents get their needs and take care of any issues that they may have. People are encouraged to continue to call the FEMA hotline if they have registered and they're having issues, getting additional help or funding.
Right. And now that there no longer is a central place to go, they can always call.
That's
Or they
correct.
can always follow up on disaster.gov.
That's correct.
And so those are the two places that they can And if you happen to be staying with somebody who has internet, then check on that so you can find a way to stop using their internet. Because it's just, it wears on you. Look, my sister, I will tell you, after Katrina, my sister and her family, they had 4 families living in one. It was a rather large home, but it was 4 families after Katrina. And so about the 9th month, she was able to get back into her home, which is off of Canal Boulevard. But I tell you, it's taxing on both sides.
Right.
It's different for people who have somebody living with them they're not used to, and it's strange to be living with somebody else's house. It doesn't matter how close you are.
That's correct.
But we look at now where every week we inch closer to the start of hurricane season, and everybody, and it's exciting for people to be able to get those 700 people that are waiting to get more permanent temporary housing. But they got to think about how that's going to impact them when and if a hurricane comes.
That's correct, Keith. We have a lot of people. Right now we have about 2,000 families that are in some type of temporary mobile home or travel trailer. So if you say the average family is 3 people, that's 6,000 people that are in some type of temporary trailer or mobile home. Now's the time to prepare and make a plan on where you're going to evacuate, even in the event of a tropical storm.
That's right.
We usually do not evacuate or shelter people, with a tropical storm. But this year, with the number of people that are in travel trailers, we're going to have to open up some shelters here for a tropical storm and provide some, shelter for these people. But now's the time to make the plan of whether you're going to use a parish shelter or if you're going to go stay with a relative or friend outside of the area or a hotel. So don't wait till the first tropical storm enters the Gulf of Mexico to make these plans. Now's the time to do that.
And we probably have a volume more. For example, I'm not on anybody's list because I have a trailer through insurance. Mm-hmm. And then there's probably a number of people who have purchased trailers. So we're probably talking another 50 or 100 families that are also having that. And so that includes you. So be aware of what your plan needs to be.
Yeah, because a lot of the trailers that are put in people's yards that are private trailers the insurance provided, those aren't anchored down.
Correct.
So I just spoke to GOSEP a couple of days ago. They're in the process of developing a plan to strap down all the trailers that are state trailers, and the FEMA trailers are already strapped down. So we just have to do the state trailers.
Yeah, and again, it's never too early to start planning for hurricane season. Earl started January 1, so we know that begins, or December 1.
Actually, December 1.
December 1. I was thinking maybe you took December off, but that never happens. And so, Earl, we always appreciate your updates, always staying in the know with what's happening in the parish and the state, across the country, and even internationally for some of these numbers. So we appreciate it.
Well, thanks, Keith. Glad to be here and glad to be able to give people updated information.
And we're only at 48%, so go get vaccinated.
That's correct.
Go get vaccinated. All right, guys, that will do it for this particular segment. Don't go anywhere. A lot more Bayou Time when we continue.